All right. All right, everyone. Today we have a special guest, a friend of mine, Patti Menders, with the Attorney General's Office. And Patti, your title with the Attorney General's Office?
Community Liaison Officer.
Okay. And we also have with us Captain Whitney Mauck. We wanted to look at what's happening around the state and what programs or initiatives the Attorney General has with regard to scams, prevention, and that kind of thing, and education. So with that, I know one of the things, Patti, that, we were talking about this before we started. It seems to me like these things are like cyclical. And you go through this process, and then you don't see those anymore, and then we get into some other scam in the next month. So I guess, that's, I think right now, one of the things that we're seeing locally. Mm-hmm. The other thing, of course, we're preparing people for this, is we just put something out on the IRS, the tax kind of scams. Right. So I guess let's start with maybe what are some initiatives that the AG's office has?
Sure. So in my role, I hear a lot. I hear from constituents, from law enforcement, and we always push it up the chain so that the consumers in Virginia are aware. I've heard all types of frauds and scams. Criminals have to keep creating new ways to attain money from Americans. And especially in Virginia, just yesterday, I heard a romance scam. Senior,
we've known something on that.
You've known on those. Yeah. This senior in particular, lonely, contacted a dating service in Northern Virginia, and they asked for $5,000, and she gave it up. And one contact, and she presumed that it was one of their employees, and so she asked for our support because our office, we have 21 sections in our office, so we're basically the law firm for the state, and we have a consumer protection office.
Right.
And you can call the hotline, 1-800-552-9963.
Okay.
So it's the OAG Consumer Protection, and I told this woman to please ask for a refund, show that she's made some effort to get the money back, but also to contact our consumer protection. And they get involved. And there is a backup log. So that's when you can track the business.
Right.
If you can't track the business, perfect example, Clark County, just north of you, a 21-year-old boy was in a scam for sextortion. He must have met this person on social media, gave pictures of himself, and now they are requesting funds. So I hear all sorts of things. In that situation, first thing we ask, go to law enforcement. That should be the number one. File either some type of police report. A lot of times if you need resources, you can contact our office directly. In this case, I said, teach your children not to send any personal information.
Right.
And we have to reiterate this. Our most vulnerable, usually seniors and usually our kids. And they're lonely and they think online devices is the easiest way to find and fill that void. And it's usually a scam.
Right. Now, were you all, like, for local law enforcement, when they're working on something like this, the AG's office does provide support to them as well?
Of course.
Right.
Consumer protection section. We have a Medicaid fraud control unit.
Right.
And we have a identity theft program. So
Okay.
if your identity's been taken, we can support you.
Okay.
A lot of times it's out of our jurisdiction.
Right.
We will listen. We will give resources. We always redirect them to local law enforcement because we partner with your office. We support you. But if there's larger crimes, we will get involved. A local close by, the Strasburg police chief, he contacted me and said, I don't know if you heard this story, 3 illegal Chinese immigrants were targeting female seniors in the towns of Woodstock, Strasburg, and Luray. And they wired back to Hong Kong over $100,000 from these 3 women. and that's right near here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so our office got involved because it was an illegal criminal, and the AG, I did tell him directly about it. So there's ways our office can get involved. A lot of times we are not big government. We are here to support your office. But if there's Medicaid fraud, if there's consumer protection needed, or if there's an identity theft, our office will support.
Can you give me some examples of Medicaid fraud that you're seeing?
Sure. Our Medicaid fraud control unit is made up of 60 investigators
Right.
and like 6 or 7 lawyers. And every state has one. So
Right.
it's a federal crime to wrongfully claim Medicaid. It could be as simple as a caretaker claiming a wheelchair for a senior and they never used it. It could be as huge as our office has done. Do you remember Purdue Pharma? They are the manufacturers of OxyContin.
Right.
Back in the day, our office, along with the U.S. Attorney's Office, we sued Purdue Pharma, and now we're in a payment structure, and that those fines and restitutions are coming back to the state.
Right.
So our Medicaid fraud will go after small claims as well as the large pharmaceutical, the large providers. If you file a wrong claim for Medicaid, it is a federal crime, and our
Right.
office will look into it.
Right.
We always recommend telling someone so that you get a second opinion. And the other thing is, do not give your personal information. You know, these
Right.
criminals will make up any story so that you give them your details, and that's a crime.
Right. Right. Whitney, anything from a local perspective, working with the AG's office or
Yeah, no,
scams
I
in
think
particular?
it's been wonderful working with you with Triad for our elderly community here in the county. We have a local Triad event coming up in May that we're hoping that you're going to attend as well, just to touch on some scams and frauds that we're seeing locally in the community and give an update to the elderly community here. We try to keep them informed as much as we can, but as you know, there's always a new scam. It seems like every
Always.
single day. So we're very appreciative for the partnership that we have with you.
And that's our number one priority, is protecting seniors. The only way you can is to share the stories, get in front of them. So I do travel throughout the state to make sure seniors are aware. The one I hear a lot now is using our artificial intelligence to either mimic someone's voice or their image to try to get funds. And it's heartbreaking. The worst one I hear is the grandparent scam.
Well, wait a minute. Before we leave the AI piece of this, so
Sure.
are they using people's facial recognition on their phones or something? Or
It could
on
be
somehow?
so many different ways to use AI. They pretend to be someone they're not.
Because they got a recording of their voice.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
if there's like a FaceTime, they could pretend to be the person. I've seen images being used that, you know, the person pretends to be that person. There's so many. I mean, AI is a great technology, but the criminals really like it.
Right. Right. And go back to grandparent scam. I can't think of anything just recently, but we've seen that as well.
No, not in reference to that, but we've talked about that, I feel like, for years at our Triad events and things, and it's still happening. The one that we're seeing the most here now is the gift cards, receiving the emails and saying that they have to go buy gift cards because their accounts have been compromised.
Yeah.
The good thing is the big Targets and Walmarts that you can go and collect the gift cards from, they're starting to become more aware
Right.
that if somebody comes in to purchase 30 to 50 gift cards, they're flagged.
Right.
Even our phones tell us if it's a spam or,
Right.
a wrong call. So I feel like, and even our banks are alerting us to fraud.
Well, and no, I'm with you there. I had 2 local bank representatives here a couple of weeks ago, and it's something you said earlier when we're encouraging people, when you get this email, when you get this text, before you send money, call somebody.
Yep.
I mean, if you call your spouse, call your child, call your grandchild, call somebody just to have a conversation about this. Because I think what's happening is that they basically get caught up in the moment, whether it's an email or a text or phone call or whatever, and then they're just moving money. And the banks are helping with that as well.
One huge red flag for these telemarketing scammers is they use emotion to persuade you to give them your money.
Right.
Whether it's anger or happiness or joy or whatever type of emotion, that pressure on the phone or through language on an email, a legitimate organization and company are not going to pressure using emotion.
Right, right. And the other thing, talking about the banks, another thing that banks encourage this, we encourage this. If you get an email referencing your bank account or referencing a bank or your credit card, contact that company. Just hang the phone up, have no more communication with whoever sent this, and you reach out directly to that organization and ask, okay, did you send me this text? Is this some email you sent me? Because a lot of times those things, these criminals are very good. They make you believe that they represent the bank or whoever the organization is.
They're good actors.
Right, right.
Mom or grandma, don't tell mom and dad. Keep this a secret.
Right, right.
That kind of language.
Right. Anything else, Whitney?
I know that when we were just speaking about the banks, we have set up a meeting to discuss having a frauds and scams summit just here locally for the town.
Awesome.
With some branch managers from the local banks here in Woodstock. So once we pick a date for that, I'll be reaching out so that you can attend that as well.
And, I wanted to ask about that. If a person wanted information, just go on the Attorney General's website?
You can go to Outreach or Community. There's different tabs, and there's lots of resources there.
Okay.
For seniors, for youth. Our office deals with a lot of issues, but this year the AG has made seniors his priority.
Right. Okay.
Well, just to reiterate, if you suspect something in your gut, do not give any personal information, your Social Security, your bank, your middle name, your spouse's name, whether it's via phone, texting like you mentioned, emails, internet. There's so many ways that these criminals are coming after Americans. It's happening throughout the U.S., in particular here in Virginia. So just go with your gut, tell others, let others help you decide if it's a legitimate business. When we talk about seniors, there's such a trusting generation. And maybe not as good with technology. Right. That's why they've got to talk to others to help navigate that kind of fraud.
Right. All right, Patti, anything else?
No, please contact our website, Virginia Attorney General's office, and we're here to support you.
Okay. Patti Menders, thanks so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you also at the other events we have coming up in Shenandoah.
I'll be at that Shenandoah Fair. I never miss it.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.